It's the Real Estate Podcast, brought to you by ANZ Home Loans for financial well-beings.
And we're back with the Real Estate Breakfast this morning, covering the latest Australian housing market and streaming on Spotify and Apple Podcasts from Rockhampton to Adelaide and across all the regional markets around the country. And remember, we have no listings, no sales podcasts, just the property information that you want delivered every morning, easy and straightforward. That's the way that we like it. It is a Monday, March the 30th. If you're celebrating a birthday, you're sharing it with Celine Dion. She's turning 58. Eric Clapton, 81, and Nora Jones. She's turning 47. On this day, back in 1981, the assassination attempt of Ronald Reagan took place. And in 2017, on this day, Brexit Article 50 triggered the UK's exit from the EU, and that is still pretty much a shambles today. Hey, coming up tomorrow, we've got a really interesting take on the Iran war and real estate fallout. Imagine if you were a wartime correspondent covering the Iraq and Afghanistan war back in the day, and you worked on American and Canadian television networks, and you then decided to move into real estate and, more importantly, live in Dubai. Yeah, finding yourself exactly back where you started. And that is just the beginning of our conversation. There are still many Aussie families concerned for their loved ones who are living in the UAE at the moment, and they've bought properties there. What is their next move? So we will bring you that conversation tomorrow, but right now let's head off to New South Wales and catch up with Suzanne Hibberd. She is the director at Abode Property in Cronulla, and welcome to the Real Estate Breakfast, Suzanne, on this Monday morning. Not a listener of Celine Dion, you were telling me.
Good morning, Craig, and thank you for having me. No, I'm definitely not a Celine Dion fan, though she has an amazing voice, and happy birthday to her today.
You're into your cars, your fast cars, AMG GTR Mercedes. You race this on the track, do you?
No, I don't actually race it on the track, though it is a racetrack car. It's really my baby. It's my passion. I love having it as my Sunday driver, but I love taking care of it and taking it to Cars and Coffee and other shows. And I sometimes use it in my real estate videos, but it's just a beautiful car. I just the way that the car is designed and the quality of the manufacturer is just absolutely, it's amazing. It really is. And I love driving it. It sounds loud. It goes fast. It's just so much fun.
Sounds good. I will have a look at that. And that is a Mercedes AMG GTR. Looking forward to looking at the pictures. Now, Cronulla is holding its position as a premium coastal market where you are, especially in the unit sector. Houses are still expensive, and we'll talk about the median local house prices in just a moment. But staying with the unit demand, that is surging. It's a classic shift where buyers are adapting rather than stepping away from the market. Are you surprised at what is happening in that unit market at the moment?
No, not at all. This trend has been continuing for a number of years now, Craig. We have lots of people coming from other areas wanting to move into the Shire. The quality that we have here is just very attractive, especially, downsizers wanting a coastal change, a bit more relaxed lifestyle. There's just so much quality that's offered in our apartments with design and finishes, and not surprised at all.
With the unit market where you are, there is a range of unit products. So for those that are listening, thinking of, I do like Cronulla, what is happening with the different product aspects, can you talk through that for us?
Absolutely. So we have our older style apartments built in the 60s. They're very popular with first home buyers. We certainly have, investors buying those apartments up as well, especially if they're within proximity to the town centre and station with the new low to mid-rise housing policy. So lots of investors are grabbing hold of those sorts of properties where they can be amalgamated with the rest of the owners there to form a new development site for luxury new apartments. First home buyers, investors, but you also then have the luxury scope. Now we have 3 different markets in Cronulla: North, Central and South. 3 different demographics of clients. All 3 areas have luxury apartments, but buyers are very specific as to which area they generally require. You don't generally have somebody saying, well, I want North Cronulla or South Cronulla. They're very specific in their requirements. We are lucky enough in the Shire and the St George area, but certainly the Shire, to have some of the highest level of award-winning builders throughout Australia are located in the Shire. I see buyers wanting that flight to quality. The high-end apartments, we have some great architects involved in design there, and finishes are just absolutely superb. And the buyers are very specific. They know what they want. They know what area they want to buy in. If they're a golfer or they're a baby boomer, surfer, they're going to want to be in that North Cronulla area. The older generation will be in Central Cronulla, where they can walk to doctors, cafes, meet up with friends. And South Cronulla, of course, is certainly a peninsula. And if you're wanting that quieter area, that's going to attract those types of clients. So I'm honoured to be representing some fantastic developers with these projects.
Yeah, so that's a great sort of breakdown on the unit market for us. Let's just have a look at the median house prices at the moment, between 3.3 and 3.4 million. And that median unit price, that is hovering around the 1.1 million. If you look at the houses, that has seen moderate growth in Cronulla, but those units, coming back to the units, look at the growth between 13 and 14%. Buyer demand for units is rising significantly, as you say. It is very much a unique lifestyle. I've heard this from many people. One of the attractions being it is one of the only Sydney beach suburbs with direct train access to the CBD. How significant is that, do you think, for Cronulla?
Craig, that is very significant. There's something that is bought up by purchasers. In fact, I sold to some people that were coming from the North Shore area. I'm always asking buyers, what brings you to Cronulla? Have you got family here? What has made this decision? And a couple said to me only a couple of years ago, Suzanne, Cronulla is the only beachside suburb with a railway line. It's very important to us. It still has a village atmosphere. It has 2 of the best ocean pools in Sydney, and where the apartments are located, you can just easily walk into cafes, restaurants, clubs, etc. So it's a real lifestyle area. I've sold a building down behind Cronulla Station. I had people come from as far as Perth. Only beachside suburb with a railway line is very important to purchasers.
Suzanne Hibberd from Cronulla is with us on our Monday morning, enthusiastically talking and telling us all about Cronulla this morning, and we will have more about this special location next.
Remember to follow us on any of the podcast platforms so you never miss a real estate podcast. You can follow us on Apple, Spotify and Amazon. Know your property with us.
Now, recently we spoke to Nicola Powell from Domain about their profit and loss report. Around 97.5% of house resales and 88.3% of unit resales are turning a profit. Wanted to just note the regional Queensland area is leading the country for house resales performance. It recorded the highest median profit of $395,000, with 98.4% of resales delivering a gain. Now, if you have a look at the regional New South Wales, it isn't far behind, with a median profit of $350,000 and 97.5% of resales in the black. Across the rest of the regional Australia areas, profitability remains high, although slightly softer in Victoria, South Australia, Western Australia and Tasmania, and the Northern Territory stands apart as the weakest performer with the lowest share of profitable resales at 78.4%.
From first-time home buyers to seasoned investors to breaking property news, discover the stories behind the real estate.
Suzanne from Cronulla is here, and okay, that's a little bit of a wrap there on some of the regional markets for resales. Interesting, your market, because it has a bit of a mindset when it comes to regional thinking with the locals.
Well, the Shire people, we're known for not leaving the bridges too often. It's often called the Insular Peninsula down here. When we have buyers coming from out of the area, we will joke with them that we will stamp their passports for them when necessary. That's an ongoing joke. The Shire is referred to as God's country as well. So look, it just is just such a wonderful place to live, wonderful place to raise family. Downsizers love the coastal lifestyle. I've had the pleasure of being an agent here for many, many years, so that's fantastic.
And what about, the elephant in the room with this Iran war, the sentiment among many buyers at the moment, particularly if they've got portfolios, they're watching this with a lot of interest from the buyers that you're interacting with. How is that sort of shaping the conversation at the moment?
Certainly there's people concerned about what's going on. I'm not tending to find that with the apartment market so much. It is more with people selling their homes to possibly downsize. Maybe those people are putting that on hold. Though, I've worked through markets like the GFC. There's always reasons that people need to sell and buy, especially older population. They've got health issues. They need to sell their home, move into the centre of town. And last week I sold an apartment just under $7 million. I sold another one just under $5 million. So we're definitely still seeing some really good, strong results. There's less buyers there, but there's always reasons that people need to buy and sell. And if you're selling and buying in the same market, it's, very comparable, isn't it? I think more of the concern for apartments is the cost of construction, and that is just such a big conversation. Building costs have gone up significantly over the last few years. This inflation that we're seeing now is only going to lead to further increases, and it's a little bit disappointing because you're going to be able to see that the people's homes are not going up as much as the apartments, which you've quoted there with the figures. It's just making it harder for people to get in, but the building costs are what's doing this more than anything.
All right, good stuff, Suzanne. That certainly gives everybody a really good breakdown on the Cronulla market, especially the units there. Thanks for coming on to the Real Estate Breakfast, and good luck racing around in that Mercedes AMG GTR.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
From interest rates rising, a shifting landscape, rentals running hot, clearance rates, a tight rental market, buyer-vendor sentiment, we cover it all every morning from 6 a.m. on the Real Estate Breakfast.
I think we've won the Tourism Award 3 years in a row, so it's the biggest day destination in Australia for tourists.
And what we actually did was I built a 20-foot office and placed that up top of a crane, and then I've got a beautiful 6-metre deck as well, so it's got panoramic windows the whole way across, and it really kind of separates the living from working space.
Places like Tamworth are very well known for that stability. We have a number of different industries that contribute to the Tamworth and greater region economy.
What is your take on how the banking providers around Australia are responding to the moment?
Yeah, well, essentially over the past week, lenders have been passing on the full 25 percentage point increase to borrowers. And obviously just touching on what's happening with petrol prices, there's a lot of households that are really managing cash flow squeeze at the moment.
We connect you to the best real estate information across Australia. The Real Estate Podcast.